One of the principles of the Commission for Social Development is the inclusion of all people and to ensure that no specific group is left behind. The Commission actually works to eliminate poverty and to ensure social integration. Now this year, the Commission focused on digital inclusion. We're all aware that there are massive gaps in this question of digital inclusion. We're talking about internet and artificial intelligence, and it's about basic things like access and velocity and capacity building, because this world of digital technology and artificial intelligence is just growing and advancing at exponential rates. So one of the groups being left behind is that of older persons, and in particular older women. And this is quite a matter of concern actually, because women have this tendency of taking the worst of everything for themselves within the household, and given the power structures, they very often do not have the same kind of access as the male members of the household would. So this is something that needs to be looked into carefully. But the very first thing is that it is so important for us women to become aware of it, because very often we're not aware of it.
At the 59th session of the Commission on Social Development, members of the United Nations, including civil society, advocated for social policy to promote a more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable recovery in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic and in light of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. One of the repeated messages throughout the Commission was that everyone must be included. The pandemic has accelerated the digital revolution, causing a great expansion of digital technology in some parts of the world, but while also leaving others behind without access to internet, without the proper tools or equipment to engage online, and without adequate training or knowledge for digital engagement. In one side event I attended on digital technology and good governance, I heard a panelist from the Pacific Islands describe how digital technology has created a two-tiered system in her country. The government has introduced online systems for public services, and yet there are many people without access to the internet who will still use paper. And they'll take that paper to the office where it will still be typed up and processed. She questioned how we can make sure that use of digital technology, especially in government services, is not just a race to participate in the global trend, but it is actually effective for the community. As another panelist reminded everyone, democracy was not built on an app. While there are many benefits to using digital technologies in a variety of areas, questions around accessibility, equity, and ethical values and practices remain to be answered.
The 59th Commission for Social Development was a great opportunity to discuss, reflect, and rethink economic activities for sustainably advancing human well-being and capabilities while protecting the environment. We also could see what the pandemic did around the world. No country has been preserved and everyone has been affected. The pandemic revealed the insufficiency of the system, opening the problem of rising inequalities, extreme poverty, unemployment, climate change, exclusion, overconsumption, environment degradation, food insecurity, and the gap in digital technology and education. Many things were said, many pledges were made, and a dream was planted for the whole of humanity. It's important to work for the well-being of all, and we need to think about policies that empower people and make them more resilient, while we need to ensure inclusive growth. This time that we are living now can be a time of innovation, creativity, and solidarity. God bless us. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Evangeline and I am one of the interns for IBVM CJ this year. I was honoured to participate into the Commission for Social Development and attended a variety of main and side events, and subsequently gained an intensive insight into the issues facing social development internationally in the context of digital technology. My biggest takeaway from this year's commission was during the side event Youth Perspectives on Family Homelessness and Technology. It was during this event that I learned that human trafficking cases had increased by 40% since the beginning of the pandemic due to its increase in demand and use of digital technology. Criminals participating in the trafficking of humans use the internet to find future victims and conduct discreet payments. Further, digital technology allows predators to hide behind a screen. An estimated $150 billion is profited annually from human trafficking. 1 in 5 young women and 1 in 10 young men will experience sex trafficking in their life, and 30% of all human trafficking victims are children. While the world is becoming digital, crime is too, and this needs to be addressed. Thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic has further widened and deepened the plight of the poor, the marginalized, and the vulnerable, especially children. As the family is the foundation stone of every society, individuals in those families have been affected too. Family relations and different routines like eating, sleeping, going to school and to work have been altered. Child development has also been negatively affected, given that about half the world's population have no access to technology. The digital advancement might still remain a dream for them, and they cannot work or go to school remotely, just like those who have access to and use of technology. Social protection is a fundamental human right that needs to be upheld. We need to find ways to extend social protection laws to those without roofs. It is imperative to know that many countries world over have been awakened from a deep slumber, as they now can realize the importance of having comprehensive and adequate social protection for everyone.
Con la pandemia han aumentado las grandes brechas y desigualdades existentes. La pobreza aumentó y el empleo ha caído. En estos momentos y por las características de esta enfermedad tenemos que alejarnos físicamente los unos de los otros. Tener internet o tener un dispositivo que nos permite acceder a la tecnología se ha convertido en un beneficio que nos permite estudiar, trabajar o comprar en línea. Lamentablemente no todas las personas podemos gozar de esto. Miles se quedan atrás y ven retrasadas sus oportunidades para superar la pobreza. Es el momento de que todas y todos contribuyamos a no dejar a nadie atrás en el acceso a la tecnología. Podemos aportar de distintas maneras. Como sociedad civil podemos organizarnos y pedir a nuestros estados inversión en tecnología o podemos crear grupos de aprendizaje por Zoom donde nuestros adultos mayores puedan capacitarse. Es el momento de actuar.
A growing inequality is the hallmark of our times. The pandemic has highlighted this. This will only be exacerbated unless we ensure a socially just transition to a more sustainable world. And for this to happen, we need to close the gap of access to digital technology. We need to focus on those already left behind. But first we need to listen to them, learn their real needs and include their ideas in the design. We have the largest and youngest population that the world has ever known. We must focus on all aspects of education, especially on the education of girls and women. Finally, it will only be when we all work together, government, the private sector, civil society, NGOs, the beneficiaries themselves, that it will be possible to deliver digital technology for all. Somewhere between the dream and the real world, we find ourselves reaching higher and further to be together. Stephanie Prato. Thank you.